let's try that again. Welcome back, everybody, to the Champagne Podcast. I am Kevin Moida, your host, coming back. It's been a long time, I know, a couple months, or it's been like about a month, I think, since the last episode. You know, I'm still trying to figure things out, man. I don't think I'm ever not going to, figure everything. I don't think I'm ever going to figure everything out 100%. Like Kevin Hart once said, he just turned like 40 or whatever the heck age he is, and he hasn't figured it out, or he just barely thinks he kind of figured it out a little bit. So, yeah, homeboy's 25 now, so that's cool. My frontal lobe is fully developed, so there's no changing me now. I used to like think that like, yo, I still have some brain developing right now. So I got to get my act together. I got to figure myself out before the gates close. And this is it, you know? I freaking close the doors and I can't change it. But this episode is going to be kind of like a interesting, it's a different format, obviously. So if you're not watching this on YouTube, by the way, if you haven't been watching it on YouTube, and you have that resource available to you for whatever you're doing, go ahead and do that. I would like to get some more traction on the YouTube channel. It would help us out a lot. Discoverability is much better on YouTube because the algorithm works a lot better for just being discovered. So if you can go ahead and do that, and if you're already following or subscribe to the YouTube channel, leaving a like and commenting on the videos really helps out as well. I do want to like stress that kind of stuff more often because I actually do care about growing this channel and the podcast. So I don't do it as often as I should because mainly I didn't want to be like and it's mainly it's a stupid thing. It's just something that, is part of my personality trait, being agreeable. I didn't want to be like annoying, but if I care about this and I want this to grow, I have to take those steps because those steps work, quite frankly. Just, putting it out there that, that I really appreciate when people support and subscribe to the channels that I am a part of. It actually works. So yeah, I gotta be doing that a little more often. But if you're not watching this on YouTube, as I was saying, I am recording this on OBS now. The reason being is because it's much easier for me to get the mic set up with the camera. So I used to record the podcast all the time onto Ableton. Ableton was my software of choice when I only did audio. Remember when I was doing the YouTube videos? I've actually had YouTube videos for a long time, but they were so choppy and in and out of consistency when I was actually consistent as well. Mainly because it was such a pain in the rear to get the audio and the video synced up together. The editing time that was put into that was exponentially higher in investment and headaches that I had to put to get that going. And eventually I just kind of like burnt out. And then I did find a better way to do it, and that's why the videos kind of came back a little bit better. But I feel like this is the best way to do it is just recording it through OBS. The audio and video is going to be synced automatically. So yeah, so I think if I upload the MP4, I believe it's what it's going to output OBS. The MP4 file, I can upload that to my distributor for the podcast, and then the audio is going to be going to like, Spotify and all that jazz. And then I'm pretty sure actually Podbean does create a YouTube channel for your podcast, and I have found a couple of those videos, but obviously it's not my channel, right? Doesn't have the amount of customizability that my channel has. I don't know if I can link that. I should be able to. I just maybe haven't found or gone through the settings enough. But yeah, then the video will be like twofold onto YouTube through Podbean's channels and through our very own channel on the SBP podcast on YouTube. So anyway, got OBS all set up. We'll see how this goes. With my kind of luck, this whole episode of the podcast might get scrapped because either the format's going to be bad, the audio is going to be terrible. I'm not too sure. It's in the air right now. Usually I have tons of technical difficulties, and you know how often we switch around in this podcast. how many times I've switched the format, switched locations, switched what kind of freaking video I'm using, or like, you know, what camera I'm using, what software I'm using, just all this kind of crap that I'm switching around. I gotta stick to one thing, and the one thing that I do know how to do best is just talking, man. And I think I undervalued the power of just irrational speech, you know, just to burn some hours, whether it be in the workplace or you're in a long commute or whatever, what have you. Just having somebody in your ear to constantly kind of like travel through random topics is quite an entertaining thing. Take the Basement Yard, for example. That's all they do. I'm not undermining their work. It's difficult to be able to talk and be interesting. That's one of the reasons why I was trying to find some sort of different, like, niche topic to talk about, because so whenever you're looking to grow, right, you can't really look at what the big shots are doing and try to emulate that. It helps, right, because it helps give you that, like, that view as to how to maybe maintain it. But once the big people are up there, they're up there, and then whatever they do is kind of like their own thing, if that makes any sense. So like let me give you an example. Like for example, people already all know who Ninja is, right? Let's talk about Twitch real quick. Another thing about Twitch I'll talk about here in a second is everybody knows, if Twitch streamers know Ninja, right? Ninja is known. He is a known streamer. He's Ninja. He's big. His main priority right now isn't to gain followers or to get into, you know, get a bigger following. That's not his goal. His following's big, and it's going to continue to grow how it is right now. His objective right now is all about revenue, making more money through the content that he's making. So what I mean by that is he has his Twitch streams, and then he'll put like snippets of his Twitch streams onto YouTube, right? Little compilations of the streams that he's been putting out. But then other smaller creators go ahead and try to use that format to try to, like, because they're like, this is what Ninja's doing, so it's obviously working. So if I just do what he's doing, then I'm gonna grow. But he grew up in the Twitch universe prior to Twitch blowing up, for one, so the competition was way low. And now everybody knows him, so you can't really use his strategy for your own benefit, because nobody knows you yet, right? Nobody knows who we are, so we can't really use what they are doing. Because he can upload those clips on YouTube about his streams, random highlights and stuff, and people are interested because he's already big. He is Ninja. Shroud, you know, whatever big streamer you're thinking about or YouTuber, they do a certain thing to maximize their revenue for that. But anyway, this example, I'm not trying to get too into the meat and potatoes of it. I'm just trying to use it to show that you can't be using exactly cookie cutter what they're doing. If you are, you have to be better than them, which is very hard to do, right? So like Ninja, I don't actually watch a lot of Ninja, to be honest. He's just a big name, right? That's why I used him. But like, I'm assuming he's a really good gamer, and that's how he initially popped off. But if you're gonna do exactly what Ninja is doing, you got to make sure that you are better than him at gaming, like much better, because that's the only way that people are going to divert from Ninja to you, right? Because if you're doing the same content Ninja's doing, Ninja's already big. People know who Ninja is. People know what to expect there. They don't know what to expect from you. So there's no reason to click on you. And if you're not even better than the guy, then there is really no reason to click on you, except for having a smaller community that draws up on a different niche. But anyway, so this is why I'm trying to put this all back to what I was initially saying. This is why I was trying to find something more particular, more niche, that I could deliver on some sort of value to actually be interesting, right? But hold on. I had like this happens to me all the time. I always have like a freaking a point. I should, you know what's a good thing I should do? I should write it down when I hear it or when I like think of it, so that way I can look at it and come back to it. But that is why the podcast format changed all the time, and I was trying to get more professional at times and whatever. But then I was like, you know what? I kind of do like just having the talking about everything else that comes up in my head, because it's more fluid. It's more, I feel like it goes by better when I try too hard to find a, because I'm honestly, I don't feel like I am an expert. I feel like you need to, in order to do that whole format of finding a niche and sticking with that, you need to be all in and be an expert at that topic, right? So like, for example, I am not an expert on music production, right? Which is something I was trying to get into. I am more educated than the average person because I've worked already on some songs myself. I used to do commission work and all that jazz, so I'm familiar with it, but I'm by no means an expert, and even that market is really saturated. But I will still talk about like music production stuff because it's something I'm interested in as part of my life. So I will still draw upon that niche a little bit, right, here and there. But for the most part, what I'm good at is kind of making sure that there's no quiet spots throughout. What I'm better at, I should say, because I have listened to my podcast episodes before, and there have been pauses here and there, and I really don't like it. But a lot of that happens, and I know because I remember those moments, because I'm trying to be more professional or overthinking stuff, and it causes me to draw a blank, right? But that being said, I am trying a different thing. I'm trying to be more consistent now, and in order to do that, I think I need to loosen up a little bit. The people you guys who were already following me prior to me trying to change it up and be more formal and professional were following me for a reason. Followed me when I was in the more chaotic format, and that's probably what you were expecting and what I should be delivering a little bit more. And yeah, I mean, there is a lot of, you know what I was looking at? A lot of podcast topics, or yeah, podcasts center around like true crime. Apparently, true crime podcast is like a very big spot. A very large number of podcasts in the podcasting world are true crime, which I get why it's freaking popular. I mean, it's popping off on YouTube now too. Like a lot of big streamers are watching all these true crime videos, which is crazy because I remember watching them prior to them. But anyway, that's besides the fact. So yeah, so I'm gonna try to keep it more loose. I'm still going to be a little bit more diving into topics a little better, because I do feel like sometimes I was kind of going a little off the rails, and I wasn't really planning my podcast episodes. So that would lead to a lot of that dead air, I guess, if you will. I don't know what the proper term is for that, but it would be because I wasn't planning on like the content too much. Something that I do remember is like sometimes I would plan, and this is probably why I didn't plan it as much, because sometimes I remember planning it out and then me reaching the end of the material I had. So then I was like, well, what do I freaking do? I didn't have any more material. I probably needed to invest more time into figuring out some more material, but that's another thing that I can tackle in the future. But anyway, all that being said, that was quite a fill in the beginning, but just to kind of throw it out there, what's been going on, I've just been thinking a lot about all the different things that I want to be doing, and trying to fit everything together. So I guess I needed that little break to kind of look at the big picture, take a step back, look at what I'm doing, and try to organize myself a little better, get a little plan of attack. Last episode of the podcast, I talked about having the journal, or your having like a journal. Hold on. Having a journal and planning out. Sorry, I'm looking at the viewfinder. I got another monitor here. Planning out what your days are going to be, and your weeks for that matter, and maybe goals long term. I've been doing that a lot. It's been helping me out a lot, putting a lot of clarity in my life, and then actually feeling good about my days, because I'm having the days I want, because I'm planning them out, and it's been really good. I have to fine tune. I have to get a little better and more on task I will say, and break things down a little bit more. What's the word? More clear. I need to make things more clear. Make things clearer. There you go. I need to make things clear. Break things down more specifically. This past Thanksgiving weekend was very, I would say, chaotic but productive, because I knew what I wanted to get done over the weekend that I had time off, but I wasn't as specific as I should have been. So in turn, I then spend too much time on one thing. You know what I'm saying? So getting a little more specific on that. Specificity is amazing when you're making a schedule. Because it really, that's where those little victories in your day happen, is when you tackle those specific things and you get those things done, you feel so much better about yourself. And then that in turn kind of snowballs into the next day, and into the next one, and the next one. So let's talk about everything that I am a part of right now. And if you guys want to go ahead and check all that out, I'm going to put that on the description of this episode. So whatever you're listening to, I don't know about Spotify, how they handle descriptions and stuff, but I know like Apple Podcasts, you can scroll over to the description and there should be links that you should click, or you could click. Go ahead and check that out. But for the sake of all of you who probably don't want to read the description, let me just talk to you really quick about it. So a lot of you know that I am a amateur music producer. I do make my own music. I've made 3 songs so far. 2 of them which are out on Spotify, so you can follow me at Mev on Spotify. There's a lot of Mevs. I don't know how to like really specifically show you where. You should just see the thumbnail, the freaking profile picture, and see my face, and then that'll lead you right to where you need to be. So the 2 songs that I do have on Spotify are Jaws and Neon Skies. I have a 3rd song coming out. I had a lot of problems with my distributor. Their customer service is atrocious, so it's been almost 2 weeks since I contacted them, and they haven't contacted me back. I'm getting everything squared away now, but through different means, and that should hopefully be up by December at some point. But yeah, so if you're interested in the music that I'm making, you can go ahead and follow me there. Add me to your, to one of your playlists if you want. It'll be great. The next song that I have coming out, it's called Fantasy. It's a single, and I think it's the best one I've done. As in, all music producers can probably attest to this, whether you're in my stage right now, or they are experienced and are looking back on their younger days. With every song, you always feel like it's better than the last one, and that's all you can ask for, honestly. As long as you feel like you are improving, your next song is better than the one previous, that is a success. That's a win for me, my friends. So I really dug the vibe of this one. I feel like it's shorter, or it feels shorter, just kind of because of like the structure, the layout that I have. But it's the sounds sound much better, and I just like the structure of it much better. So go ahead and check that out. Another thing that I have recently started doing more seriously, because I've been doing this for a little bit prior, but is Twitch. I am live streaming on Twitch. You can find me at twitch.tv/mevco, mev_co, that is. Also going to be on the description, and I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So Mondays being a miscellaneous day, so that's going to be whatever I think about, right? Whatever we want. So it could be whatever game. Been thinking about Resident Evil. I just got Death Stranding, so we might play a little bit of that. Halo, Infinite, whatever the game or the flavor of the evening brings us, that's what we're going to be doing. And that's going to be all these days, by the way, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 6 p.m. Wednesdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. or we're going to be playing Final Fantasy. That's the game that I'm sticking with. There's a lot of content in there, by the way, and I am pretty kind of newbie into the game, and I have a lot of content to grind through on that. There's a lot of, and it's just a fun game. I've had that game for like years, but I've always been in and out of it, on and off, mainly because the community intimidated me in the beginning, because no matter where you were at, it felt like if you didn't know everything about wherever you're at, you were looked down on. So that's why I kind of shied away, and I played by myself. I still do. That's kind of changing here and there though. But yeah, so that game's a lot of fun. We play those on... Dang, Milo just tears up all my equipment, man. But we play those on Wednesdays and Fridays. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, you can follow me at on Twitch. Again, that's twitch.tv/mefco. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So the last thing I will talk about is actually related to Twitch. Is we have a YouTube channel for the Twitch as well. So if you guys want to, and because we do like try not to laughs, I do try not to laughs and things of that nature. So a lot of those little more YouTube video related ideas, they're going to be uploaded to Mefco Twitch or Mefco Vids. Sorry, that's Mefco Vids on YouTube. I share the profile picture between the YouTube channel and the Twitch channel to make it easier to find. Milo's going crazy right now. This is great. I don't know. When he gets like this, he is sniffing at something under the table. It's probably a mouse. But I'd never know what he's gonna do. So I am really afraid. The light is right there. The mic is right there. This is right there. He is right there. I am afraid. He's kind of calming down, I think. So I think we're gonna be all good. Hopefully. Here's hoping. But anyway, yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and follow that, I think that is going to cover all of those kind of I mean, it's not really, it is self-promotion, but this is my platform, so, you know, whatever goes, whatever, it makes sense. It makes sense. This is applicable. This is a reverent, you know. But, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot going on, and a lot of that, of these things that I've wanted to, you know, keep working on, I feel like kind of just like stacked, you know, and then I felt this giant weight like eventually on my shoulders that I had to do this and that, and you know, it was just this big mess and fog of confusion. What do I want to do? And then also I am still going to school, so I'm tackling those classes. I'm not trying to do a woe is me, but I just want to say that that's why the scheduling has really helped out, because it's really kind of cleared it up as to where I can allocate time and get better at, you know, creating the content that I am wanting to create and put out there. You know, times are crazy right now, so like to be self-sufficient and be able to support my family. So that's why I'm like, you know, I got to get my booty in gear and get cracking on everything that I'm trying to get done. So by the way, I look really miscellaneous in terms of the attire. The room is a big mess too, because guess what, baby? The holiday seasons are here. Christmas time is coming up. I believe we are on the 28th of November right now. Dude, this week is December. We're coming up, man. Time is sure flying, isn't it? Time is really flying. But anyway, Christmas is in town. It's in business. Lights are going up everywhere. We got all of our decorations going right now. We still need to put the lights on outside, but I got to mow the lawn first. But I didn't freaking take the fuel out of my lawnmower, so the carburetor got all seized up, so I can't turn it on. So I'm that one neighbor in the freaking neighborhood that hasn't mowed his lawn. It looks disgusting. Not proud of that, but it is what it is. But yeah, the room's really messy right now because we were getting a lot of new things, man. We got a new tree. It was my birthday, so I got a new monitor, hence why I have another one right here that you cannot see regardless of whether you're listening only or watching the video. But I got another monitor because of the Twitch streams, right? I needed to have OBS set up separately right here so I can actually see what it is that people are chatting, and just the whole layout, make sure the stream's going fine. But Milo's gonna be walking around in the back, sniffing around, but we'll get this cleaned up. It's just a little, you know, little messy. And I'm a little freaking messy right now too. You know, the beanie, the freaking shirt, the pants, they don't match. It looks like I look like a freaking, What do I look like? I look like a DLC character in some game, but yeah, I'm just all miscellaneous right now because I was doing homework, man. I was in my freaking PJs the whole day. I was doing a lot of work. And I just didn't find the time to like actually make myself presentable. And then I was like, yo, I gotta do the pod. So let me go ahead and like clean up a little bit, you know? So that's what I went ahead and did. Let's talk about some things. I do actually have notes right now that I want to talk about, some ideas I had, and I think I actually wrote it down on my phone as well, some of them. So I gotta mix the two up real quick. We did talk about, so let me go over what we've talked about. We talked about the Twitch stream, all right. We talked about the song that's coming out, Fantasy, and why it's been such a pain in the rear. I'll talk a little bit more about the details, the spaghetti meatballs. So that song, Try Not to Laugh. Those videos are up, by the way. So that Twitch channel, Mevco Vids on YouTube, we got one Try Not to Laugh, or I Laughed the Video Ends video in there, and then the other one is going to be coming out tomorrow. So whenever you're listening to this, it's probably already out. So go ahead and check that out. I am going to be creating a Discord, by the way. And all of you fine folk can actually join, get verified, and be able to suggest whatever videos you want. I might even change that to unverified, because the more input I get, the better. So I'll look out for that pretty soon too. And the best way to figure out when that comes out is probably listening to the podcast, because I'll be talking about everything that's been going on. I feel like just trying to tackle all of this stuff is actually in itself good content for the podcast, because it gives me so much to talk about and so much progress reports I get to unload on you. But let me see here. So Milo, you're moving on so much. Going back. He's getting a little scared. Milo is just super. We all know this. He's high anxiety. He just gets afraid of everything. He starts thinking too much, and then he goes freaking crazy, man. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Maybe I didn't write it down. Maybe I did not write it down. No, I did not. Wait a minute. Yeah, I didn't write it down. Okay, I didn't write it down on my phone. I could have swore that I did, but I guess I did not. So let's get, I have another note here, that we could talk about. My mouse died. Oh, there it goes. That we could talk about. But since I did bring up this song and that's still kind of fresh in our ears right now, let's talk about the process and how this song came about. Or should I wait until no, I can talk a little bit about it, and then we'll get more into it whenever the single actually comes out. So this song, it was like a nice surprise. So whenever you're working music production, for those of you who don't know, music producers and just independent artists, we have a bank of dead songs. So I have 3 songs, well, 2 songs out, and the third one that's coming out, that's done, right? So I have 3 songs made, but I have probably approximately about 40 songs, like song rough drafts. And that's no exaggeration. Like music producers, that's with like a melody, like some freaking, what am I thinking? Chords, melody, chord progression, and beats, drums, a drum pattern, drum loop. And it's just that's just the life. You start working on a song and you just don't like it, or you looped it too much to where the magic is gone, and then the whole song gets destroyed. It's just what happens. Sometimes what it really does click, and then you just start getting an idea after an idea and keep working and moving forward and then build a song that way. But sometimes it's not. One thing that I have found is that if you as soon as you get the inkling that you've been looping it too much, or it's like losing its flair, you have to back out of it. You got to stop working on it, or else the song is not going anywhere. With this particular one, Fantasy, it actually started out completely different, but I then respected the theory of, you know, If it starts, because if you think it's starting to get too redundant, or the charm is starting to leave, get out. So I respected that when I was initially working on it, and then when I came back, what? Hold on, what? Give me a quick minute. A quick minute. Hold on. Hold your horses. Probably gonna get cut. Freak, dude. He scared me. Milo, you want out? All right, Milo's out. We're all good. Everything's good. Yeah, we're all good, man. So, yeah, that song started somewhere and then it ended in a completely different place. And that's how the music, like, at least this part of reviving those songs, like, just gets really magical. And as long as you respect, drawing, like, stepping back a little bit, letting it marinate, letting it do its thing, maybe even work on another track just to kind of like clean the palette, and then you can come back. Like, that's what happened with this one, man. I went back, and then I had an idea, and then I layered that, and then you got to be willing to delete things. That's one of the problems that I have, is once I lay something down, because initially I'm like, yo, this is really good, like, this idea is great, but then you start laying something else down, maybe they don't go together, and then you got to like make a decision as to which one to eliminate, right? Which element to get rid of. So yeah, I did a lot of that, and it ended up working out for me, at least. I think it's a really nice song. It's a very calm one. It's very much different than the first two that I've created. This one's very much more mellow, and I'm kind of testing out the waters. I'm testing out the waters, seeing where I fit in, what genre I would like to work on more. I kind of do like the bedroom pop kind of vibe. The alt indie as well, so I'm just kind of seeing where I fit in, and then what sounds I like best. That's kind of what you gotta, what you have to go through in the beginning of making music. But yeah, so having a schedule and doing that, I'm gonna be the having a schedule guy from now on, I guess. Really has helped out with the productivity and that level as well. So I don't, what? Okay, we do have a rec timer on OBS. I wasn't sure, because that was one of the things about Ableton, is I don't think we even had a timer, did we? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think I just looked at my watch like every time. Yeah, that's how I gauged it, because the camera I was using was the DSLR, was it a DSLR, the EOS M, right? And every 30 minutes it was shut off. You know what this camera does too, though? This camera shuts off. Oh, not shuts off. No. Yeah, okay. This one like does this weird like little stutter thing. So I don't know if it's been doing it, because I haven't been looking at the view at OBS at all. But it does this like glitch thing, which I'm not really happy about. But it's not too crazy. It's not too obnoxious. Not too much. Not too distracting, right? But in the beginning, it was doing this thing, and I'm not gonna do it now because I might do it again. Anytime I would like kick the wooden, so my computer is sitting on this like wooden slab to make sure it's not on the carpet, so it doesn't like overheat and just bring in all, like, to make sure it can breathe better. So it's on this wooden plank. And anytime I kicked the wooden plank, the camera would turn off. And I was like, why is that happening? I never understood. I wasn't, to this day, I don't know why it was turning off. I switched the USB port that it was plugged into originally. That seemed to fix the problem for a little bit. And then it just went back. And then I just unplugged and plugged it back in. Now we're good. We'll see. But fortunately, the webcam I have now has a little blue light that indicates whenever it's on, so I can tell exactly when it shuts off. And when it shuts off, usually I actually just freeze frames on wherever I was. So one of my streams, I think there was like a good 30 minutes that it was just frozen on a specific this frame of me just not doing anything. But yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah, so I don't even know how we got there. How did we even get to talking about cameras? I think I was looking at the freaking timer, man. But yeah, going back, let's rewind a little bit, talking about the podcast and how it was what kind of template, what kind of format I was looking for. I'm obviously inspired by the Basement Yard, hence why I do more of a kind of like everyday kind of dialogue thing, and also inspired by Bill Burr. For the same reasons, right? Conan wants a friend. I don't know if they're still doing that podcast. That one's also a really good one. You should check them out. But yeah, that was my big, like, the conflict that I had was like, yo, these guys are big already, right? These guys are big. But prior to making the Basement Yard, Joe Santagato popped off on Facebook, making his People of Walmart videos. Bill Burr is obviously Bill Burr, and then Conan is obviously Conan. So I was thinking maybe that's not going to work because I am not a well-known person. I'm just me. So I need to figure some niche out, and that's why I got like conflicted there. But as long as you provide some sort of value, it's all about like, if you're going to yoink things from people, it's all about putting your own flair and your own spin to it as well. You know, if you're trying to emulate identical, like whoever you look up to and you're inspired by, you're not going to get anywhere, because the closer you are to emulating them, the further the harder you're making it for yourself to actually get any kind of spotlight, because you're getting too close to the you know what I'm saying? That content already exists at a bigger scale, so you're doing yourself a disservice. So then I thought, you know what? Podcasts, I feel too, it's a lot about at least for me, man, it was a lot about spending the time, just finding something to waste some time in sometimes, you know? I remember I listened a lot to this podcast, and that's not to say like the content that you're listening to is like trash and you just want to waste time. No, I just mean like sometimes you don't care specifically where this content is coming from, as long as it's like a good as long as it does the job, I guess. I would listen to the Nine Club. I don't know if they're still making podcast episodes right now, but they're skating podcast. They were all about skateboarding, talking to skaters. I was definitely not in the know. I didn't grow up skating. I wanted to kind of start skating. I have a skateboard, and I did one video on my YouTube channel. I have on an update. It was one of those update videos I did. I love update videos, man. I always do them, and podcast episodes. There's probably like 4 or 5 podcast update videos. And I probably had a lot of YouTube videos that were updates, but I since privated a lot of it because I want to go in a different direction on the YouTube channel. But that's besides the fact. I wasn't in the know. I didn't know the people that they were bringing in, because they were bringing in notable, well-known skaters into the podcast and talking to them about certain tricks and stunts, or the tricks that they would pull in their career. Different films that they were a part of and things like that. And I was just interested to hear these guys talk. It might have been too, I was interested to hear these people who I knew were in the know talk about things that they know. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're in this world, and I'm kind of just, I get to sit back and listen to these like pros talk about pros. But yeah, so that did it for me, man. I didn't know anything that was happening there, but I still enjoyed the subject, man. I enjoyed just even having, like, I would tune out on the Basement Yard sometimes, like when I would be doing long drives. But just having something in the background playing was enough, because silence sucks. Sometimes silence is sweet. It's a bittersweet thing, man. But sometimes you just want something to be playing back, whether you're doing homework or work, Podcasts, man, 8 hours. 8 hours go by so much faster when you got a good podcast you got to listen to. So, yeah, that's just kind of the stuff I wanted to talk about right now. It is getting kind of late for me, at least. So, I'm trying to make sure I have ample time to get everything published, uploaded to the proper channels. So, I'm going to leave it here. Pretty short episode, 40 minutes, but better than nothing, right? Am I right? Because it's been about a month. I think it's been about a month since my last episode. But if you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast, I would really love if you could leave a review on it on Apple Podcasts if you're listening to it there, or on Spotify, whatever podcast or podcast platform you're listening on. If you're watching the YouTube video, subscribe, give a like. It will help us out a lot. It'll help the algorithm bump up and recommend this podcast to other people. And if you want to share it with everybody else in your life, go ahead and do so. I'm going to leave it here. I'll see you next week. Tune in to everything else. Links are in the description. I'll catch you later.